welcome back to the All New Nerds. Here we are covering House of Dragon. Music's a little loud there.
Yeah, turn that down.
Turn that down. House of the Dragons, episode 5. Oh my God, it's Sir Crispin.
Sir Crispin here.
Sir Crispin, yeah, he's hell of an ep for him. And Levi. We started the stream a little early. If you're watching this on the VOD, thank you so much. But if you're watching this live, also thank you. I just can't get over what I just watched. That was like,
we had to push it forward 5 minutes because we just had to talk
Game of
about
Thrones. S tier, like that is up there. Oh my God. Let's just start, right?
Yeah.
Let's start talking about it. The opening with Lady Royce in like the short film, like a horror short film with Daemon, like
fantastic start.
Oh my God. Matt Smith continues to just demolish that character. It is so good. He's horrifying.
Yeah, I also thought that whole sequence just looked amazing. Obviously, they were back in Iceland shooting that. It was very apparent. Just the scenery was fantastic. And it was very much made as just like a short film. Like that's what they say sort of in the
post credits.
In the post credits, where it was talking about how they approached it. And this is something that's not like clear in the book. And they just decided to sort of just go ahead and give us this sort of like 5-minute like murder story with Daemon, which was just fantastic start to the episode.
Andrew, I appreciate you being here, but go watch this ep. I don't want to spoil anymore. Yeah, I watched the post credit sort of the behind the scenes thing too, and George is pretty involved with this, and like the showrunner is like, yeah, it's weird that they just like mentioned that she got crushed, and then like with no context at all, and they're like, Daemon definitely killed her, and I imagine George R. R. Martin was like, yeah, so good. Oh my God,
what a great scene.
And it was awful though, because I like immediately liked her so much.
I was
like, she seems badass. And then, we just gotta keep going. So, the king, Viserys and Rhaenyra are showing up to Driftmark, Lord Corlys's crib. We finally get to see it. And he is not well. Every ep, I'm like, man, I feel for this guy. He's seasick. He's just like, I hate my life.
He is not well.
He's just
next episode unwell. He'll be even worse. But
I thought he was I thought he was dead. And seeing the preview for next step, I saw like the flash of like
he looks horrible,
haggard, absolutely haggard. I'm like, damn, he's
awful.
Alive.
He's like bald. Yeah, he looks awful, but he's alive. I guess they somehow keep him going.
For the second where he just drops, I really thought he was dead. Anyway, but yeah, so they show up at Rhaenys's and Corlys's place, looking spiffy, by the way. That place looks awesome. That all the design on Driftmark and the sea snake.
There's a lot of reasons that I love this episode, but one of the big ones is that we actually get to see a lot more of like Westeros in this episode, which is something I feel like we haven't seen much, and we just bounce all around. It feels like, and like feels more like a Game of Thrones episode where we see more of the world outside of just like King's Landing, like area. So I thought the design here was just fantastic. Looks
100%,
great.
100%.
The Driftwood throne, so cool.
Love I know, it. And the fact that it's called like High Tide is the name of the castle.
Yeah, High Tide.
Like all of the it's all the theme stuff. So I feel like I may have accidentally skipped over what actually was my favorite scene of the whole episode. I think it happened in between the opening and I may have been right after the Driftmark stuff.
Alicent and
Otto talking to each other. I just because you just feel the loom, man, and the dire nature of society. The scene, it gave me a whole new context, not a context necessarily because I understood the context, but it made me reappreciate Otto's motivations, because we talked about it in the beginning. We're like, is this guy like trying to pimp out his daughter? Like, what's going on here? And we were like, ugh, like, but he still seemed kind of like good. But the way that he is clearly emotionally distraught, like, if we don't do this, there was going to be war and like millions of people are going to die.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. And the way he delivered that, it felt very real. Like I felt for him. Like he was actually just trying to be like, I want to stop chaos, man. And this is going to be some chaotic crap. And they're going to try and kill you and your kids. And I don't want that. And I'm like, okay, I never thought, I was like, okay, I didn't think about it that way.
He's thinking about the well-being of people, not like power. Or maybe 50-50.
50, but I underestimated his, he actually, it seemed like he cared.
He's still on a villain arc for sure. But
for sure. Well, do you think he's
going
to be around?
He does care. And obviously he gets through to Alicent, as we see in the end of the episode. But
yeah, that was talk about
Oof. We'll talk about the scene. I'll get there. I want to talk about Rhaenyra and Valyron walking on the beach.
Good scene.
Very, very fun scene. Like, they're obviously sort of, using metaphors and euphemisms there, but and what they say in the post credits is that like they're having a very like sort of
modern conversation,
like in like a medieval context. It's just like we're gonna have an open relationship. Like that's okay. I guess she knows because they grew up together that his sexual preferences. So
not women.
Yes, as we meet his lover later on in the episode.
Which shout out to that guy because all of the like bit actors in this totally sold their roles. Like these one-time appearance character actors are killing the game.
Absolutely
all the Hightower people. I know we'd seen like a couple of them briefly, but like that one guy who just like bodies his way through the crowd at the end.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that guy was awesome.
The main character.
I know. I was like, so this guy's awesome. But yeah, great scene. The way it was shot too. It felt good. And the way that Rhaenyra has, I don't know, the seeing her. I don't know. I don't even know what to say because clearly, this is the last time we're seeing, Millie Alcock.
Yeah.
And she's gonna switch and be like depressed older Rhaenyra. So I was gonna say seeing her come to terms with this stuff, but I don't know. I think things are going pretty bleak.
Yeah.
I think it's getting worse. I was gonna say like this had a positive note for her, but I was like, I don't actually think so because.
Yeah,
I was like, wait, never mind. It's all bad.
It's going to be interesting to see that character shift because I don't know if we saw them really set up like how like she's going to be like horribly depressed. I believe her character just gets like she hates her life. So
yeah,
I didn't like really end off like nothing like too bad happened for. I guess like she's upset about Sir Criston. We don't really know what's going to happen to him. But
oh my god, that scene at the end.
Yeah, we'll get there. I feel like
there's so much. Yeah, there's so much to talk about in this episode.
Then we have Rhaenyra and Criston sort of talking about their relationship up there in the boat. Which first, I just want to point out the fact that the king and the heir are on this like one sort of like medium-sized sailboat. Like that does not seem safe. Like they always talk about pirates and stuff. Like,
I think that because the way like they say it a bunch, but like Corlys. They control like the whole navy and all the dragons. So I think it's my understanding that area of Westeros is like heavily protected really, on all sides because that's like the area.
But still, like
I mean, you see how many ships show up just for the wedding.
I know. I'm just saying, maybe you have like more than one ship, maybe just.
Well, they were really close to shore too. I think maybe they could have separated from the fleet. That wasn't weighed on my mind because they were like right there.
It was something I thought was funny during the episode, but of course a great scene upon the ship between Rhaenyra and Criston. And he sort of insults her a little bit, but because he's like, we can escape, the crown. She's like, I am the crown.
The crown.
It's not like, I'm just here like to marry into it. Like I am the heir, and that means something to her. Like she wants to be queen. So I think he sort of underestimates, like, even though she complains about it, she's like, still want to be queen here. So
it's wrapped into her identity.
Take a step back, buddy. Take a step back, buddy. He comes on too strong.
He does. He went from 0 to 100. Hey, let's run away and get married.
I know, like really. But you feel for him because like you can tell how much his oath like meant. Like it wasn't just something like.
I mean, he was gonna kill himself.
There. Yeah, like he really.
Talk about a tragic scene, the misunderstanding there with Alicent and
him
when they're talking about two totally different things and he self-reports himself.
So much. Every scene
was just like gut-wrenching.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
There wasn't like a single bad scene in this episode. Not at all.
My mind keeps going to the wedding, but to take it back to Driftmark stuff, we also start to see that what's his face is the new hand. I still haven't learned his name.
That guy.
The side man. He's elevated.
The neutral side man.
Neutral side man who always gives his honest opinion. Whose son is crippled.
who had a sort of interesting role in this episode.
Also
the
had an interesting
I forget
role.
his name.
I feel like he was. I couldn't tell if he was. Well, it's Game of Thrones, so I
mean, he just sort of showed up just to be like devious, and then I mean, obviously he wanted her to know.
Yeah,
that Rhaenyra had lied to her. I don't know what he really stands to gain here.
I just don't know the motivation.
Neither do I, but I think we'll find out.
There's always been something going on with them because we saw them during the hunt too, and there was sort of an allusion to something going on there as well. Just in the visual language of the way that was shot, like there was emphasis on him before. I don't know, and I remember people back then being like, "He's going to be important." Anyway, but we also see just Viserys, other than literally, as Andrew says, depositing his lunch over the bow of the ship. He's more than just that. He is violently unwell regardless. I mean, he's got like when you see his arm later, like I can't tell if it's it's like the whole thing is just decomposing. It's gross.
Yeah, he's some like necrosis. Yeah, he's not doing so well. Not at all. It's sort of hard to watch. Feel bad for the guy. And then of course we get a great scene, during talking to the Hand there, where he sort of expresses like, he feels like he hasn't done anything to cement his legacy. And in Westeros, like your sort of legacy is built on like destruction and winning in wars. And he's like, I haven't really done anything. I never won a battle, I never lost a battle. He's feeling like incompetent, and that shows up big time later on when he's making his big speech. And twice in the wedding, he gets like completely just like
shown up.
Someone showed him up like. He's just like, man. I mean, he just ends his speech.
Things just can't go Viserys.
No, they can't go his way at all. It's this poor guy, like, just gets showed up like 2 times by Daemon and Alicent.
Speaking of Daemon, man, he starts the episode. Who Andrew is graciously recounting it beat by beat. Has that awesome scene. Doesn't even say a word. But then, like, he shows up at the wedding. I thought he was banned. I was under the impression that he got kicked out for good after last ep.
Yeah, I sort of didn't as well, actually. But I guess it makes sense he'd be invited back for this. Or I mean, I don't know. There were some reactions like
no one reacted.
Wasn't supposed
the way he walked in.
Though. People were like, maybe he shouldn't be here. I don't know.
It was that scene was. Yeah, everyone was confused, and the way they like pull up a chair for him, the single glass on the serving plate. I love that detail. He's just so isolated. But then, I know we're jumping around here, but this is just what's on my mind. Like I couldn't tell, like Rhaenyra. What was Rhaenyra playing at? She was literally like, kill all these people and take me away. I think she was taunting him, but also he like went in for the kiss. I was like, what? In front of Viserys, like the man's crazy. I don't know. I feel like she's kind of crazy too.
A little bit. I mean, I think she was playing him. I think she's upset about their last encounter in the last episode, and I think she was sort of messing with him a little bit there.
I think so too, but I think there's like a nugget of truth in it, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, we know she doesn't really want to get married to this guy, so.
But Daemon, it's like, ugh.
I mean, obviously, they're going to get married later on in the show, so they need to set that up in some capacity. So I think some part, I don't know. I mean, last episode it was Daemon that sort of left the brothel in that scene. Like she was down for it.
But the way it was shot, man.
I think we can finally get to the wedding scene here.
He goes with the way
skirting around it.
The way he goes for the kiss and like the crowd and like Viserys' like cup is shaking.
Yeah, so obviously, just this entire sequence of the wedding was fantastic, and I think the best part about it is sort of this like low drum beat that plays over the entire like 15 minutes, and just like it builds the tension so well. I was like edge of my seat the entire time. Like it's like, of course, it's Game of Thrones. Something's going to go down at the wedding.
You're hyper attuned to weddings.
The weddings never go well, so it's like really just you're just wondering where is it going to pop off, and they have all these, like sort of possibilities that could cause issues, and it's like, which one is it going to be? And you think it's going to be Daemon, and he's just sitting there like. And there's one scene where like they sort of frame his hand right next to like a knife, and it's like, is he about to go and like kill someone?
I thought it was going to pop off with Royce's cousin, making the accusation that he murdered,
yeah,
his wife. I thought that was gonna be the moment where he just got up and stabbed him.
Yeah, instead he just gets dismantled by Damon,
like, which completely. Sucks. Oh, he's I own you. I own everything.
By the way, yeah, I'm gonna own your home. So
get fucked. Yeah, it was yeah, so I've seen too much Game of Thrones, and so my mind, both with Red Wedding and Joffrey's wedding, and I also in my head had a bit of season 6 finale in there because I have made a lot of connections, maybe where I shouldn't have. It just in vibe from Tommen and Alicent. I thought Alicent was gonna kill herself. I was like, man, I don't know if she's making out of this.
I was sort of there too. But I mean, we knew that she was.
I know. Yeah, I know. We knew. So in my head, I was like, I know it can't happen. But the way it was going, I felt.
Yeah, because they're like, where is she? Where is she?
Yeah, I felt like, the Tommen. I felt Tommen jumping out the window vibes. Like after her, the way she calls Rhaenyra like stepdaughter. I was like, ugh.
Yeah. She is. Well, I don't know. I mean, the characters might have been similar in the first few episodes, but that's where they deviate. Where Tommen just wants out of the Game of Thrones. Like at this point, she's been lied to by Rhaenyra.
I underestimated her.
Yeah, she doesn't she doesn't really like the king very much anymore. Like she doesn't know where her allegiances lie, and she's like, you know what? Like I'm fighting for my home and my children. So yeah, obviously the big moment there. She comes out in the green dress. Very symbolic. Not just green. Not just in the Game of Thrones universe. It's symbolic. War, but. Green typically used for envy and jealousy and that sort of thing. So just definitely a statement there, and like everyone knows it. I guess like color is really a big deal. I guess here because like everyone goes quiet because I think they realize this is a statement. And just crazy scene really. She shows up Viserys during the speech and
during the middle of his speech.
And the music was fantastic there in that
also
scene.
Fantastic. I want to continue to shout out Ramin Djawadi's new, I don't know if it's Rhaenyra's specific theme or the Targaryen theme, but that low, like the like that whole new riff, I love it. And I love every time it's played.
When the Valerians house pulled up during the wedding too, that music was fantastic there. Just I haven't been particularly blown away by the soundtrack of this show. Not that it's been bad at all, but I don't think thus far there's been as memorable music as Game of Thrones, but there are some really great themes. So,
especially in the context of Game of Thrones and in this episode with the weddings, obviously Rains at Castamere is kind of hard to beat in terms of wedding moments.
Sure,
Rains of Castamere peaks that list, but this was up there, man. I mean, so once again, we've been dancing around it. One of the threads through this episode is Kristen gets scorned on the boat. Then he has this scene with Alicent where she is trying to figure out if Daemon and Rhaenyra had a thing, because he would know because he was there that night. He was protecting, so he would have seen hypothetically if she went in or out. That's what Alicent is thinking. But then there's just this miscommunication where she gets him to admit to breaking his vow of celibacy. To we know what he did to Rhaenyra last ep, and the look on her face, man. As he's talking,
he should have let her finish her sentence.
I know
he really just completely incriminates himself and just changes the course of his own history.
He's too honorable. He's too good for the Game of Thrones.
Viserys. I feel like that's sort of almost the theme of this show is that we're seeing a lot more kind-hearted characters, and I think we're gonna see why that doesn't work. I think they're all gonna meet horrible fates. So
potentially, because but anyway, so we've alluded to the fact that Rhaenyra's soon to be husband, because they're marrying the Targaryen and Valyrian families. We talked about earlier, he's gay, and so he has his essentially his boyfriend, and at this wedding, both Kristen and the boyfriend, Joffrey was his name, are there, and they're both sort of figuring out. Joffrey especially is figuring out that these two people who are being wed, we're the real partners to these people. And so I think he's trying to do, it didn't seem super shady. It was just hey, we got to keep this secret.
He could have been a little friendlier about it. It was definitely an aggressive
yeah, but I think
if he had been chill about it, then
I think the outcome was admirable though. because they agreed to the open relationship on the beach. Like they had both talked to their respective partners about it. To me, I was like, okay, like I see.
Yeah, no, I don't really see exactly why Kristen felt the need to go and beat his face in.
But yeah, the point I was going to make is after learning that, just hearing about it anymore at this wedding, he just snaps and kills this guy. And I wasn't expecting him to snap. I really wasn't. When it started happening though, as soon as I thought, I was like, the only person that could really be, because I know where Damon is, I know where like all these other players are, it like has to be Kristen.
Yeah.
But
and we see him grabbing his sword.
And we see him, it sucked because he was like one of the good dudes, and here he is just bludgeoning this man's face in. Brutal scene.
Very brutal.
Brutal.
The like stampede of everyone in the dance floor is fantastic. I mean, you see at that point, like they don't really care anymore.
Talked about it, like the dancing. Very
but they don't even care anymore about like the customs of the respect, and like we just see Rhaenyra get like trampled and in Valerian or Valon, like just like thrown onto like a table. Like they just care about themselves. The facade drops.
The hard cut from him crying over Joffrey's body to the shotgun wedding of like, just get married. Insane. The way that hit. It's like, whoa. And then the end, Viserys just collapsing.
We see the rat drinking at the blood.
It was so well edited and well cut, and just you felt every second of this episode. I loved it. I mean, I loved it. This is to me, this is a 10 out of 10. Like this is what defines this kind of this show. This is a 10 out of 10 ep.
Seeing all the flames in the like in the blood splatters in the last shot of the episode are fantastic, because fire and blood.
There. Yep.
This episode's nearly perfect. I guess if we're talking about the thing as a whole, like I don't like to give out 10 out of 10s. I don't really think not much things are 10 out of 10s in this world.
Okay, 9.5, 9.9.
Yeah, I would be somewhere around like 9.94, 9.3. Like
it's up there.
I can't think of anything wrong with it, but
this is the best ep of the show.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think like this episode could stand up to any of the like good Game of Thrones episodes. Like I think really it has everything that made Game of Thrones so fantastic in it.
So we're at a point, Ben, where we're halfway through the season. We're 5 episodes in.
Very much served as like a mid-season like break, which like we haven't really seen that in Game of Thrones typically.
It's usually the penultimate episode has the big moment, and then like the finale is like a wrap up. That's usually how Game of Thrones went. Yeah, the episode 9s are always the one to watch for. But with this, now that we're halfway through the first season of House of the Dragon, to me, we're on a pretty good trajectory. The only quote unquote misstep was last week, and even then that was like an 8.5 still.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that a misstep.
Like that's what I'm saying. It's not like a misstep. It's just not. It wasn't a 9.
Especially after
the battle this episode, which
I mean, after this episode, though, I think last episode's even better. Better. A lot of the
stuff building, and I by the way, for anyone who cares, I did revisit episode 3 and enjoyed it more. I just have to really separate House of the Dragon and Rings of Power. They're just two separate things, and I watched them too close in proximity, and my wires got crossed. But that episode, 3, also very good. But my point being, so far, how do we think this stacks up against some of the weaker seasons of Game of Thrones? Is this up there? Like, does this rank among? We're just counting
obviously it's only 5 episodes in, but in a way, you could count this as like season like 1A.
1A, yeah.
Absolutely stacks up.
Yeah, it really feels like a story.
Yes, yeah, sure. I don't know. I mean, some of the Game of Thrones seasons towards the end there were pretty awful, in my opinion.
Well, I don't disagree. Like, I'm not gonna. I think already.
No,
this is better than 8.
I don't think it's very hard to do that at all. I think.
Well, there's 6, but there's 6 pretty good seasons.
Yes.
At the very least,
6,
I think.
Yeah, there's
I think
like
you
4,
and I agree.
like amazing.
4 amazing seasons. So let me clarify further then, because obviously most people will agree that so far this is better than mostly 7 and 8 for the most part. I'm pretty partial to 7, but I understand. Like, does this hold a flame, a candle, a fire, if you would, to like a 2 or a 4? Because to me, I think this is better than 1 so far. I think this is better than 1.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough for me because one like really has to build a lot more of a story. Like I think there's like at least like double the like plot lines going on.
Yeah,
and it ends like such a fantastic way. Love season 1. I think season 1's very underrated. But even more Daenerys' storyline of her like emerging with the 3 dragons on her shoulder, like such a fantastic scene. I don't know. We're only 5 episodes in, so it's hard to judge, even though this is more of like a season 1A. But yeah, like can it hold a candle to? Absolutely.
I think it's holding a candle.
What I was saying is that like this season just had like this episode, but the season as a whole had like the best parts of Game of Thrones and like none of the weaker parts. So like just by that sentiment, like absolutely, yeah, I would say like it's definitely on par and better than some Game of Thrones seasons. Absolutely, I'm loving it. Like I cannot wait for the rest of the season.
Yeah, so let's do some extra final ratings. I think I'd settle. You know, I adhere to your logic. Like nothing, it has to be really, really perfect. So 9.5, you probably would go.
Yeah, like 9.3, 9.4.
9.3. All right, guys. Well, that was our quick little immediate reaction to House of the Dragon Ep 5. I believe I had to look up the name of it. It wasn't in the it's a We Light the Way. I want to say his name of it.
Yeah, no, they don't put the episode titles up for like a day. I don't know why.
It's very annoying. Very annoying. They do the same thing with the Disney Plus shows, where it just says like Mandalorian's chapters. Like they don't actually say what it's called. Very annoying. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed both this and the episode of House of the Dragons. Tell us what you think is going to happen next week and what you thought of this episode. New actors, new era.
New actors.
It's going to be like 10 years later or something like that.
It might be a little jarring, but
I think it's going to be very jarring, but it should still be good. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody. Peace.